Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our virtual break room. I'm Lauren Sagayan, assistant to the city manager, and I'm joined by fellow moderator Emma Tozer, communications coordinator with the city. We are excited to bring you another session of our virtual break room, which we are broadcasting live on Facebook right now and on our teleconferencing application, Blue Jeans. We've strived to use this online engagement series as a way to bring the community useful information about resources and services amid the COVID-19 pandemic. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Emma to take it away from here.
Thanks, Lauren. So for today's virtual break room, we are welcoming Chief Carolina Snipes from Falck Alameda County. As many of you may know, over the summer, the City of Union City and Falck entered into a 3-year lease agreement for a site that is formerly Fire Station 30 on Easton Court. So Falck is Alameda County's emergency medical response and primary 911 transport service provider. So I just want to pause right now and say, if you're new to the virtual break room, we encourage everyone to ask questions for Chief Snipes either in the comments section of the Facebook Live video or in the chat feature of the Blue Jeans platform. And we will be taking your questions throughout today's break room. So today we're going to be talking with Chief Snipes about how Falck is going to use the station in Union City for ambulance operations, as well as a community center that focuses on safety, health, education, and wellness for residents. Some of these community program opportunities include education about stroke awareness, CPR and first aid training, safe kids classes, blood pressure screenings, and the senior injury prevention program. We're also going to be talking a little about Falck's new behavioral health crisis response team, the new mental health community assessment and transport teams, otherwise known as CAT, which is also going to be housed in the station at Union City. So let's kick it off. Chief Snipes, can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do with Falck?
Certainly. Thanks, Emma. So my name is Carolina Snipes. I'm the Director-in-Chief for Falck, and I've been working in Alameda County for, EMS for the past 10 years or so. So right now I basically oversee day-to-day operations, all of our special programs, and our partnerships with our various stakeholders in the community.
Great. And how is the moving in process going in Union City?
The moving in process is going great. Everybody has been extremely helpful to, from getting us the keys to helping us set up our just day-to-day operations like Wi-Fi, computers, making sure the crew lounge is set up, just setting up basic services. It's going really well. Today, actually, we're shuttling over 6 of our community assessment transport team vehicles, which you pointed out will be housed there. So that's super exciting. It's going really well.
Great, and I want to use that to kind of segue into the question about the CAT program. This, from my understanding, is a pilot program. So I was hoping you could talk a little bit about what is CAT, what will CAT do, what is it going to do in Union City, and why is this important?
Certainly. Yeah, the Community Assessment Transport Team, otherwise known as CAT, is a partnership between Falck, Bonita House, and Alameda County. So Falck provides the EMTs, Bonita House provides a social worker, and Alameda County basically has been running the project in partnership with us. So an EMT and a social worker get on an SUV type vehicle. It's pretty low profile, and what they do is they respond to mental health emergencies that are generated within Alameda County. So over the past year, they've been going through training alongside all of the local police departments to help make sure that these people experiencing a mental health crisis are getting the appropriate resource. So how that happens is a police officer will get dispatched to a call. They'll get on scene and they'll make a decision. Hey, this isn't really a resource for the police department. This is a resource that requires or that needs CAT. This is a mental health resource call. So they'll make that call to the dispatch center, which will put one of our CAT units on that call, and they'll transfer that over from the police department to the appropriate resource, which is the community assessment transport team. So obviously mental health is a huge problem everywhere, and I think Alameda County is being really proactive with this pilot program, which is now in operation. We're seeing it be super successful, and we are deploying more units to get up to our full capacity. And we just deployed an extra 3 units this past Sunday. So the program is expanding, and we're super excited to bring those services to Alameda County and obviously Union City.
Great. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about community programs too, which Falck will be offering at Union City's station at some point in the future. I know with COVID, things have probably been delayed a little bit. So I was hoping you could talk a little bit about what are these programs, what will you be offering, what is your projected timeline for rolling that out to the community?
Sure. Yeah, so as you mentioned in your introduction, some of those programs are Safe Kids. We'll start with that. That one's pretty well known. That mainly focuses on, car seat fittings and education about, children just riding in cars, booster seats, making sure they have the appropriate equipment, educating people on, the weight and size of their children before they remove them from a car seat or a booster seat. It's a really cool event, and we put one on last year in Oakland, and we're hoping to put one on in Union City. So as far as the timeline, it just kind of depends on when we can get, socially distant and set up in the station and make sure that everybody is, have the appropriate precautions set up. But we're still hoping to be fairly aggressive with that. We'd love to see that in the first quarter of next year. We're hoping that things have died down enough for us to be able to start welcoming people into the station. And that timeline goes for all of the other services that we'd like to offer as well, like hands-only CPR, which is a great quick class to teach the layperson on how to deliver quick and effective CPR in if they were to come across somebody or their loved one. First aid, Stop the Bleed is another program that we really like. It teaches people basic first aid that they can apply, immediately after leaving the class. Like we do some blood pressure screening, some, other health check events. Basically, whatever the community is really looking for, we can hold. We'd really like to. We have our ideas, obviously, but we'd like to make sure that we, engage the community as people start showing up to these classes on things that they'd like to see as well. So we can offer a variety of classes all the way from, like pediatric children with the Safe Kids, all the way up to, fall awareness, stroke awareness, and CPR for the senior or general population.
And if people are interested in getting updates about when these classes are going to be offered, how would they stay connected with you?
Sure. I'm more than happy to give out my Falck email address. It's carolina.snipes@falck.com. And hopefully we can write that out for you guys somewhere for you to see, maybe in the chat. But I'm totally accessible to you. And I think if you guys have heard me speak before, I'm really interested in building a partnership with people who are in the community. I think we're in a very good position and a very unique position as an ambulance provider to build this relationship with the residents of Union City.
Thank you. And I do have a couple of questions that were submitted beforehand. And just for people who are on Facebook Live or Blue Jeans and just tuning in, you can add your comments or your questions in the comment section, and I will pose them to Chief Snipes. So we have one that came in from Ellen. Are these community programs going to cost for people to use, or will they be free?
Hey, Ellen, that's a great question. As this is a community service, we're going to be providing these events free of charge.
Great. And I have one about the CAT program, going back to that. If the program is successful in the first couple of years in Union City, what would be the next steps? And as a follow-up, do you partner with other organizations for CAT and your community programs?
Yeah, so for CAT specifically, they're hoping that right now the program is grant based through the county. So it's HCSA and Measure A that are currently funding this project. And the hope is that it's going to be self-sustainable after the trial period. So they're putting together the general structure of how this is going to work. And they're hoping that it's going to be able to be self-sustainable long past the initial trial phase. I mentioned briefly that there is a partner in this, and that is Bonita House. They are in charge of providing the social worker. So that's another reason why I really like this program. It not only has a first responder EMT on the unit, but it also has a licensed social worker to make sure that these patients are getting, the best care possible. And then outside of the CAP program, we partner with lots of other agencies in the area. We've done things with the local police departments and fire departments, and and honestly, if anybody wants to engage with Falck, obviously, COVID, like you said, has some restrictions, but we're eager to engage with the community as a whole.
Great, thank you. I have a question from Amy. How long is the lease with Falck at the former fire station, and are there plans to renew it after that?
Yeah, and I think that you touched on that a little bit, Emma. Right now we have a 3-year lease.
And she actually had a follow-up question. Does Falck respond to calls in Union City for residents, and do Union City residents pay for the services, or the ambulance rides, I guess?
Sure, yeah. So we do respond to calls, but it's through the regular 911 system. Obviously, we respond countywide. Station 30 is going to be part of what we call our posting plan, which is where an ambulance stages prior to receiving a 911 call. So there will be ambulances located periodically, throughout the day and throughout the week and month, et cetera, from Station 30. But the actual ambulance ride is like if you were to call from anywhere else in the county, we bill through your insurance, and then anything left over, if there's anything left over, then would be sent to the resident.
Okay, great. Thank you. And that is all of the questions that I have. I know that so that we got through that pretty quickly. And my only final question, I know that you had mentioned your email address. Is there another, like an email subscription or a website that people can go to just to peruse and get more information that we can leave them with before we log off?
Yeah, I think right now the best way, since we are in kind of the beginning phases of, building out Union City Station 30, and with the restrictions with COVID, we haven't listed a class schedule yet. But I'm more than happy to. Obviously, we stay in contact pretty frequently, so we are developing that. So there will be a way for them to kind of check that. And like I said, we've got a pretty aggressive timeline with that still. So we're hoping that by the beginning of the year, they'll have a platform to actually go on and look and be able to see those things ahead of time.
Great, thank you. Well, that is everything that I have. I don't know if you have any lasting or any last words that you want to say to the community before we log off.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I genuinely appreciate having the opportunity to do these kind of things with you. I really appreciate our relationship with Union City, and I mean it. I'd love to get to know the community and the residents who are specifically in the area, but obviously, anybody. We're open to suggestions, we're open to hearing from you, and just generally, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your community, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, and we're also very appreciative of you being here too. All right, well, that's all for us today for Virtual Break Room. Thank you for everyone who tuned in on Blue Jeans and on Facebook Live. A recording of this is going to be available afterwards too, in case you missed it and want to watch again. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye, and we hope to see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.